Linda Fleming was the first woman to die under the Death with Dignity Act in 2009 in Seattle, Washington. She was 66 years old when she received a lethal dose of medication from her physician under the law. 1 month before, Linda was diagnosed with stage 4 pancreatic cancer and was told that she was actively dying. According to the New York Times, released May 22, 2009, Fleming was quoted to have said, "I'm a very spiritual person, and it was important to me to be conscious, clear-minded, and alert at the time of my death. The powerful medications were making it difficult to maintain the state of mind I wanted to have at my death. In fact, it is difficult for a majority of terminally ill patients to maintain their state of mind while trying to be kept alive. It should be those patients' right to choose if they wish to be put to death or not. Assisted suicide is a touchy topic to many, but hopefully after hearing about euthanasia, the current states allowing euthanasia, and the effect terminally ill patients have on their own families, I can persuade you to believe that it is every individual's right to go through with assisted suicide if they are qualified and wish for it." I'd like to begin by discussing a little background of euthanasia. Oftentimes, terminally ill individuals have to be kept alive by medical equipment, such as the woman here. It is hard not to think about if their life is really worth it at this point when their pain and suffering is so great. Many people put a negative connotation to euthanasia and think of it as the same thing as murder, but oftentimes they do not look at the positive side of it, which is putting someone to death painlessly and allowing a person that is suffering from an incurable and painful disease or condition to die by withholding extreme medical measures. These patients should be allowed to die with dignity, and we should put them out of their suffering once and for all. By not allowing patients to have the right to assisted suicide, we are essentially denying them of their freedom of choice. Next, I would like to talk about the current states that allow euthanasia. There are 5 right now in the United States, those being California, Washington, Oregon, Montana, and Vermont. Oregon has the longest experience with the law. They passed the Death with Dignity Act in 1994. A study by Gonzini and his colleagues conducted in March of 2009 showed 56 individuals that were contemplating physician-assisted suicide in their questionnaires that they were given. 41 of those had died by the end of the research period, 9 from a lethal dose of medication from their physician. It was surprising to me that the most common reason for seeking physician-assisted death was not due to the current symptoms of the patient. It was these patients' desire to maintain control over the circumstances of death and to die at their own home. Their concerns regarding their loss of independence and their future pain and disability were far greater than those symptoms that they currently had. Euthanasia has been legal for 18 years. 1 in 6 patients talk with their family, 1 in 50 talk with their physician, and 1 in 500 directly access the option. Lastly, I would like to discuss the effect that terminally ill patients have on their family. The cost to keep terminally ill patients alive is far too high for many families. It can range from $2,000 to $10,000 a month, and oftentimes even more, depending on the situation. Families generally do not think about the cost of keeping their loved one alive while they are in the hospital. But oftentimes, once they pass, the family struggles with the huge hospital bill and are often subject to financial ruin. According to Ronald Dworkin, author of Life's Dominion, he says that many people want to save their relatives the expense of keeping their loved one alive while they are in the hospital. If terminally ill patients have the option of assisted suicide, they can ease their family's financial burdens as well as their suffering. No one ever wishes to have a family member or a loved one be sick to the point that they are being kept alive by medical equipment. But imagine if your brother, your sister, mom, or dad were diagnosed with a terminal disease that was going to cause them to lose their quality of life. Would you want to put them out of their misery? It is so easy for some to think that assisted suicide is the same as murder. But it is so different once you are actually put in the situation and watching your loved one slowly lose their right state of mind. It should be every person's choice as to whether or not physician-assisted suicide is the route they want to take. If we were to take that choice away, we would be denying those individuals who wish to proceed their own freedom of choice. And these are the sources used in my speech.